Okay, so in subsequent videos, we've seen what an array is. We've seen how to create arrays. We've seen how to make arrays in our classes. And now what we're going to do is make an array of objects. And so let's look at this example I've started. So I have this class that I set up before we started this video. And it's pretty basic. It's back to the old days. Seems like not that long ago, but it wasn't. Let's see. So we have we have some members that are public. We have a public string animal type, and this is where we'll put cat, dog, animal, whatever animal, hippo. And we have the animal's age. So these are properties of this object. And so we also have a constructor, and the constructor is saying that, well, it can't create an instance of a class without sending over some arguments. And the arguments I expect to receive, I expect a string type, which again is dog or cat or whatever, and also the age. And so at that time when we instantiate the object, we can then set the property of animal type to the argument that was received, and we'll set the animal age to the age that was received. All right, so let's look at our main method. So here's our test application. And what I'm going to do is let's create an array of animals. Okay, so just like we've done before in other videos, we did an int of maybe animals, and then we put in dog, cat, or whatever. But now what we're going to do is we're going to use the data type animals. Remember, you can use a class as a data type. So we're going to use animals. We're going to create an array of animal objects. So we're going to call it, let's see, we'll call it animals. And we need to create a new instance of that. And we're going to put two elements in there. So we're going to put two objects as arrays into our animals array. Okay? So object 1 and object 2. Each time we create a new object of an animal, we're going to put it into, animals, we're going to put it into this array. So let's see that in action here. So I'm going to hard code these values, and again, animals of 0 is equal to, I need to instantiate a new object. So I'm going to make a new object of animals. And remember, when we create a new object of animals, that I'm required to put in a string type and an int age. That's what we set up right here. So I'm just going to hard code them in. You can get them in from a user, whatever you want to do, but I'm just going to hard code these for the example. So I have a dog, and the dog is age 5. And I said that I'm going to create two elements. I'm going to also add another animals of 1 is equal to, I'm going to create another new object, new animals object. And this is going to be a cat, and our cat is, let's say, 3. Okay? So I've instantiated an object, and I've put that object into my array of objects, or my array of animals objects derived from my class animals. Okay? So let's print those out and see how that will work. So again, we're going to use that for each block we looked at before. Now these are type animals, and I'm going to say Annie for short. So this is the variable that I'm using to hold the value as I loop through the for loop, the for each loop, which is looping through each index of this animals array. Okay, so they are type animals. And we are going to say there's our keyword, and the array name is animals from here. Okay, so here's our animals that's coming from here. We just generated this variable name, so we have a storage place to keep our looping, our values in our loops. And then each time we pull out a element from animals, is actually from our array, it's actually an animals instance. Now that's a lot to get your hands around, but I think you can do it. And so we're going to write line, and I'll say type is, we'll do type placeholder 0 is age placeholder 1. And so that as I'm looping through each of these, remember the value is going into this variable. So I'm going to type in Annie, okay? And I'm getting, let's see if I can scroll down here. There we go. So I'm receiving these properties because this Annie is now an instance of an object which I've put into an array. So I have Annie.type, that's the animal type. And in placeholder 1, I have Annie.animal age. There we go. And so now let's print that out and verify that all is working. We can step through it if you want. Okay, so we are instantiating an object with dog and 5. We'll walk through that. Animal type is getting a value. You can see that happening here. So our properties are getting populated. So animals array of 0 should be filled. There we go. And you can see it's being filled there with a property type. There it is. Animal age is 5. Animal type is dog. So animals of 0 is getting animal age and animal dog. Or, type is dog. And then we'll loop through it again. Second time, we're getting a second object. Okay. And so again, now we have the second element being filled. Okay. Second element being array index of 1. And now we're going to loop through our animals array and put each iteration into Annie. And so now Annie is holding this value right here, this object. So Annie refers now to this object, which has a property of animal age and a property of animal type. And so it should print out dog and the age. And now we have the second one, which is the index of 1. So we have this object in our hands now. And that should complete the loop. And we should be able to see that being displayed in our console. So there you have it. Hopefully that helps put some perspective into all the different ways you can handle arrays. And I also think these should be helpful to get you through, or some clues that'll help you get through the assignments that are posted. Email me if you have any questions.